And I want to stay on this. I want to stay on this because this is very important. You said you were surprised by the levee being broken. In 2002, the Times-Picayune did story after story, and this is eerie. This is what they wrote and how they predicted what was going to happen. It said, and I'll read it very carefully, a major hurricane could decimate the region, but flooding from even a moderate storm could fill thousands in just a matter of time. The scene's been played out for years in computer models, emergency operations, simulations. New Orleans has hurricane levees that create a bowl with the bottom dripping lower than the bottom of Lake Pontchartrain. The levees would trap any water that gets inside by breach, overtopping, torrential downpour, catastrophic storm. The estimated 100,000 or more people left behind in evacuation will be struggling to survive. Some will be housed at the Superdome, the designated shelter for people too sick or infirm to leave the city. Many will simply be on their own in homes or looking for high ground. Thousands will drown while trapped in homes or cars by rising water. Others will be washed away or crushed by debris. Survivors will end up trapped on roofs and buildings, high ground surrounded by water, with no means of escape, little food, fresh water, perhaps for several days. That was 4 years ago. And last summer, FEMA, who reports to you, and the LSU Hurricane Center, and local and state officials did a simulated Hurricane Pam, in which the levees broke. The levees broke, Mr. Secretary, and people, thousands...
Actually, Tim,
thousands drowned.
Tim,
there's a CD, which is in your department, and the White House has it, and the President and you are saying, we were surprised that the levees may not hold. How could this be?
No, Tim, I have to tell you, that's not what I said. You have to listen to what I said. What I said was, not that we didn't anticipate that there's a possibility these levees will break. What I said is, in this storm, what happened is, the storm passed, and passed without the levees breaking on Monday. Tuesday morning, I opened newspapers and saw headlines that said, New Orleans dodged the bullet. What surprised people, what surprised them was that the levee broke overnight and the next day, and in fact collapsed. That was a surprise. As to the larger point, there's no question that people have known for probably decades that New Orleans sits in a bowl surrounded by levees. This is a city built on the coast in an area that has hurricanes in it, that is built below sea levels, and that is a soup bowl. People have talked for years about, whether it makes sense to have a city like that, how to build the levees. So, of course, that's not a surprise. What caught people by surprise in this instance was the fact that there was a second wave. And that, as the Times-Picayune article makes very clear, creates an almost apocalyptic challenge for rescuers. The fact of the matter is, there's only really one way to deal with that issue, and that is to get people out first. Once that bowl breaks and that soup bowl fills with water, it is unquestionably the case, as we saw vividly demonstrated, that it's going to be almost impossible to get people out. So there is really only one way to deal with it, and that is to evacuate people in advance. Michael Brown got on TV on Saturday, and he said to people in New Orleans, take this seriously. There is a storm coming. On Friday, there was discussion about the fact that even though the storm could fall anywhere along the Gulf, people had to be carefully monitoring it. We were watching it on Saturday and Sunday. The president was on a video conference on Sunday telling us we've got to do everything possible to be prepared. But Tim, at the end of the day, this is the ground truth. The only way to avoid a catastrophic problem in that soup bowl is to have people leave before the hurricane hits. Those who got out are fine. Those who stayed in faced one of the most horrible experiences in